Like, how many people are getting their houses built and needing to buy cabinets and counters and whatever for the house? And then I moved to Germany and found out that Germans will go and buy their own kitchen, install it into their apartment or their flat, and then will actually, if they're moving, will deinstall that kitchen, take it with them, reformat it, because obviously not every kitchen is shaped exactly the same, and then they will reinstall it.
Wow.
Now, obviously, there's exceptions to this.
Yeah.
Some Germans will be able to sell their kitchen to their landlord, or maybe the person that's taking over the lease after them. But for the most part, they move their kitchen with them.
Okay, that's totally different. If that exists in the U.S., I've never heard of it. Yeah, that is definitely not common. Every apartment I had, like, of course, the bathrooms, the kitchen, and the laundry room were all, like, standard, right? So, like, you didn't have to buy, a stove and a refrigerator and all these different things, right? You just bought little accessories, of course. But, you didn't have to essentially buy the whole kitchen, get cabinets and all these things, right? That is very different. You would only, of course, get stuff for like the living room and bedrooms, right? Beds and furniture. So that is
thing is
way
that
different.
Their refrigerators are drastically smaller than ours, and it's kind of hard to show you on this video without doing a side-by-side comparison. But if you think about it, I'm 5'7", and this is the top of my shoulder, and this is the top of the fridge. So my shoulder is actually above the height of the fridge, and the freezer is pretty small too.
Oh, that is small.
Another thing is their dishwashers. So
that is
water
small.
in Germany is like
look, when I laugh, please don't be offended. It's not a bad thing. Everywhere is different. That is just
really
so small. I would have to overhaul my whole just shopping and thought process, right? Because our fridge is way bigger than that.
If I remember correctly, when I looked it up, our hardest water is still like 10 times softer than Germans' softest water.
Wow,
That's how hard their water is.
Really hard water.
Because of their hard water, Germans will actually add additives into their dishwasher to soften the water and make sure that it doesn't create this like film or calcium like buildup or residue on their dishes. Another thing is that I have never seen a Keurig for the entire time.
It depends on the house and the area, but we have water softeners very common here. So you have usually some softer waters in certain cities, hard water in other cities. And then, of course, you have water softener setups and all these different things. So the water in either place I've lived in the U.S. has been pretty good. No complaints.
That I've been in Germany. I don't know if they're here or not, but I've never seen one. But I have seen coffee appliances from other brands. So Tassimo is a popular brand that you'll see in Germany, and so is Nespresso, and there's a bunch of other ones. But I've never seen a Keurig here, which is kind of interesting because I feel like Keurig just like took over America over the past couple years.
Keurigs are like unbelievable. They're almost a household item. Like everyone no matter who they are, it seems like a Keurig is present. Very common in the kitchen.
So let's move to the bathroom.
You see Nespresso sometimes, rarely. I'm sure it's way more common over there, though.
So as I walk into the bathroom, the first thing I'll point out is the toilet. So they don't have handles to flush their toilets. What they have are buttons, and usually there's two of them. And as I always say, the bigger the button, the bigger the flush.
Makes
sense.
sense.
You'll also notice that there isn't that
top
part to the toilet that we have, and that's because it's like inside the wall there.
Wow.
And the toilet doesn't sit on the ground. It's basically just floating in the air there.
And the
also, a lot of German flats will have their washer and dryer inside their bathroom.
I tell you what, that aesthetic is much cleaner. Right? It's very interesting.
So another different thing is that they have these cool heaters inside their bathrooms, which are basically like towel rack shaped heaters. So when you turn it on, not only is it heating up the bathroom, but it's also warming up your towel, which is pretty awesome when you're getting out of the shower.
Okay, that's so different. I've never seen that in any U.S. house ever. Or apartment. Sorry, we're on apartments. You know what I mean. Living space. That is very different. What is not awesome,
though, is that, again, because of this hard water thing, if you have a shower like this, where it's like this glass wall, you are going to have to squeegee every single time you get out of the shower. Always got to squeegee that bad boy.
Otherwise, look at, sorry to narc on her, but she does have spots. You can see the spots showing. Yeah, those, you got to keep up with that squeegee. In my experience, you really can't even skip it once. Right? I mean, I feel good after the shower anyway. You don't want to feel lazy. You gotta squeegee it, because even though our water, I guess, is a lot softer over here, No, it will leave spots, especially if you leave it a couple times.
It drives me crazy because like it's just another
Then
step
it's
I
hard
have
to
to
get
take
off.
when I'm getting ready in the morning.
Much easier to get when it's fresh, dripping down. You just squeegee it off.
Is to squeegee down the shower. And if you don't squeegee down the shower, you get these really bad hard water
Yes.
stains on your glass,
And it looks ugly.
it takes kind of like a lot of effort to wash them off. The first thing I always notice about a German bedroom or their hotel rooms, a lot of times, they have these two mattresses that lay next to each other to make up. This is basically like a queen size bed. And if you notice, those are actually two different blankets too. And when I moved in with my
What?
boyfriend, I thought it was like really weird. It seemed like, I was like, what is this, the 50s? We can't sleep in the
Right.
same bed together. And I've grown to love it. It is awesome.
Really?
I sleep so well, and I think it's just like the better way, because if you think about it, it's not exactly natural to sleep right next to someone and be able to get like super restful sleep because maybe
Right.
they move or are making noise or whatever. But for some reason, having this like defined sleeping space for yourself, you get like way better sleep. So if you look,
I can possibly see that. I would have to try it out. I like king size beds, right? That's the norm here. Maybe a queen size in certain houses, but most of the time you're going to have a decent size bedroom in most houses with a king size bed, right? And I love king beds. They're just big. You jump on. Well, you don't jump, but you get onto the bed when it's time to go to sleep, and it just feels so good to stretch and then cuddle up and go to sleep. I guess it's what I'm used to, and that's something I didn't really think would be different in certain other places, right? Having the two beds thing is very odd to me, but I can possibly see. I'm not sure if I'm convinced yet, but I can possibly see. At the end of the day, I love cuddling, with my wife, but that's not how we sleep. I'm kind of particular about how I sleep to get good sleep, and most people, are in their own space on the bed. So
behind me, you'll notice that this is like a wardrobe. And again, it looks similar to IKEA, right? What you'd see in IKEA. And that's because Germans, they don't have closets. They don't do the closet thing.
Wow.
So you basically have to go and buy wardrobes from furniture stores if you want to be able to hang up your clothes, because there are no other options. There are no closets. Another thing I'll point out
that's different too.
Are the
closets are getting bigger and bigger with newer like house layouts. I mean, even older houses had closets, but a lot of the new ones, I mean, the closets are literally like, gotta turn that off. The closets are just like its own room next to the master bedroom. It's
and
weird,
I think they're pretty cool.
They're getting big.
I've heard that a lot of Americans think that the German windows are super fascinating. So this
Yes.
isn't a window. I mean, this is a door, but it's the same mechanism. So you
Yeah,
can
I do
either
love these.
open
We've
it
seen these. I
completely,
love them.
right? Or you can bring the handle up and it'll just, as I call it the German way of opening. So I don't really know like what a proper term for it should be, but basically it just tilts the glass away from the wall, and so you get some airflow without opening the entire window or door.
Yeah, and most of you watching this probably have seen that I'm very fascinated by these doors and windows in Germany and of course other parts of Europe that have these. It's just really innovative, really cool, really like well built, right? I love it. So yeah, we've seen these before. They're incredible.
I think it's pretty cool. Their light switches are different. Instead of having like the actual like switch looking things that we have, they have basically square buttons as their switches. And they also don't really have doorknobs. I don't think I've
Yeah, it's a square. Ours are either a little like switch that you flip up or you flip down, or the other style would be like a rectangle vertically laid out, and you would, again, flip it on or flip it off, as you can probably see in the background there. So I've never seen that style that she showed.
I've seen a doorknob in Germany.
Totally different.
They mostly have
They're always handles.
door handles. This is what I'm used to seeing all throughout Germany.
Yeah, and you might see door handles on the front door or the rear door, like of the house or even apartment. So it's about a 50-50 chance of that in the U.S. But of course, all the bedroom doors and smaller doors, they're always going to be door knobs. That's like very common. And I have to admit, I do like the feel of the handles better. I like that design. I would not mind if that, became the norm in America, because I think it's better.
All right.
I do.
let's go into the living room. Oh, the furniture in here I think is pretty standard. Again, it looks like something you'd see in IKEA, and I'm sure any German hearing me say this all is probably